All right, folks, let's talk about a game changer, literally. If you're a brand or retailer in the outdoor industry, think of Endeavor like the ultimate power-up for your sales game. This platform is designed to level up retail associates, giving them the XP they need to master your gear, sell more, and rack up rewards along the way. It's like a cheat code for better sales, making sure your products don't just sit on the shelves but actually move. Why is this valuable? Well, trained and motivated staff sell way more gear. Brands using Endeavor, like K2 Sports and Smith Optics, have seen better sell-through, stronger brand engagement, and real data insights on what works. And here's where Endeavor gets really interesting. It's gamified. That means learning about products and earning incentives feels fun and not like homework. But there's also a couple of other power-ups you'll want to consider. First is their partnership with Locally, so online shoppers can instantly find a knowledgeable staffer in a nearby store ready to seal the deal. Second is an option known as Freemium, where you can launch brand assets, push newsfeed posts, and coordinate rep clinics. And with Endeavor's pay-as-you-go plans, you can take sales contests, education campaigns, or collect staff insights collection programs all out for a test drive. The bottom line, if your retail game is feeling like it's stuck in easy mode, Endeavor is the upgrade you need to unlock next-level sales, max out your team's knowledge, and beat the boss when it comes to customer experience. Head to Endeavor, that's ENDVR.io, to learn more today. Welcome to the Rock Fight, where we speak our truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin True, and joining me today, he has a new job and a new lease on life. It's Justin Housman!
I don't know if I want to talk about my new job.
Oh, you want me to re-record that?
No. This can stay in. I just meant, like, generally speaking, like, I don't know.
Yeah, you just got a new lease on life. We're going to talk about mental health today, so it's kind of like, right? You know?
That's true, yeah. But
it's a big deal.
It is. I agree. I just don't, for some, I don't know. Like, it's kind of like, I've been so, it's funny to say this while talking about, like being very, I'm, like, super open about my mental health and, like, things I've gone through and dealt with, but I just kind of like the idea of keeping something to my, I mean, you can Google it, you find out what my job is, but
is that why you posted it on LinkedIn for all the accolades?
That's what I mean. I don't know. I just don't feel like talking about it for some reason. I don't know why.
But you wanted to talk about it on LinkedIn. I don't understand.
I did.
Can't
Good point.
Okay,
fine.
Can't square this.
Fine. All right. I'm working with
the CEO
of
Apple
of Fits socks, and
he commissions all the songs and the ads.
That's right. No, I don't. I also it feels weird because it's like I'm not really like working in the outdoor space anymore.
Well, you kind of are.
I mean, actually, very much so, but not like the outdoor industry really as a whole.
Right. You're not covering, like, you're not going to be writing gear bits anymore.
Yeah. At least I don't think so. But
this is actually why we shut down Gear and Beer. Because we knew you were going to get this job. We're like, what's the point?
Hey, speaking of which.
Yeah. Are you having a beverage? We are recording this late at night. Did it pop?
Yeah.
Gosh, should I go get a beer? I don't even know if I have a beer in the fridge right now.
That's up to you. I don't know, but like the weather's insane. I mean,
it's so nice out.
My backyard office with the door wide open. I got no shoes on. I'm having a beer.
Well, Justin is back. Today, we're going to be responding to listener emails that have come in recently. We've heard from you on Justin's most recent piece and News from the Front, Rock Fight's newsletter. We've heard from you on socks. But before we talk about those things, if you missed Monday's episode of The Rock Fight, you missed producer Dave and Owen Comerford and I talk about how we want to kickstart innovation in the outdoor industry. So go back and check out that episode. Be sure to come back this Friday, where producer Dave's going to be a lot of producer Dave this week. Shantae Salaber is also going to be joining us. We're going to be breaking down and rating the latest brand videos from your favorite outdoor brands.
That sounds like fun.
It's like outdoor brand video season. I noticed the other day, is like I saw on hardware, a Code Epoxy, a Patagonia. I'm like, we gotta do a little review of these. So we're doing that on Friday. And Justin, I know you were off last week. Are you out? You want me to take your bit here, or you want me to kind of just read it? You're out of practice.
You know what? Go ahead. No, you go ahead. You do it.
I don't know. I don't know how to read these words. These are your words.
All right, fine. I have a very important question for not you, Colin. You can sit this one out if you want.
Okay, cool.
Have you subscribed to our Rock Fight weekly newsletter?
Yes. Oh wait, you're not talking to me. Sorry.
Well, I'm waiting for the listeners to respond. I don't know how I would find that. I guess. All right. I guess I have to email. Well, if not, what the hell, man, lady, man, whoever, whatever. You know, we put a lot of work into this. I put a lot of work into this when I'm writing for it. Anybody else who's writing for us put a lot of work into it. We're talking about exclusive content here. It's not just a link aggregator, although there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, but that's not what we're doing. We're giving you exclusive content you can only find on the newsletter. You're going to love it. We're going to talk about a piece of today that like really apparently touched a lot of people's lives. That's the kind of stuff you're going to get in our newsletter. So head right over to rockfight.co, click join the mailing list, and it will sign you up. And of course, if you're listening to podcasts, you know that we need you to subscribe. We need you to give us a 5-star rating. We need you to follow us on whatever podcast app you're listening to us on. And my God, I'm struggling over reading this. But
see,
you get
that's what I was worried about. You're right. I took a week off.
No, you're right. I haven't been reading out loud. But yeah, the drill. Follow, like, subscribe. Boom, 5-star rating. Give it up.
You got there at the end. Nice work, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, our top story today is presented by your hub for ultralight gear, Garage Grown Gear. Head to garagegrowngear.com and check them out. And like Justin just alluded to, a couple of weeks ago, Justin, you wrote a pretty personal piece for Rock Fight's newsletter.
Yeah.
If you missed it, we're going to actually do something a little different right now. And I think Justin's going to read it. We're going to actually just read it. It's not that long, and I think it's really important. The reason we're doing this is the reader response. It's kind of overwhelming. We get actually a fair amount of emails based off of our newsletters, but this one we got a lot of, hey, this was a really important thing that I got to read today. Thank you for it. So we figured let's spend a minute, talk about mental health in the outdoors, and let's start it off by Justin. Why don't you read your piece for everybody?
Well, I'm gonna just a caveat not really a caveat, but question. None of those have come from women though, right? None of those emails.
No, you're right. It's a good point.
I swear. We can talk about it more later, but I do kind of wonder how much of this, as I'm about to get into it, is just like a kind of a classic men's sort of midlife crisis kind of vibe. I don't know.
We have listener emails about socks later that are from women, so it's not just like our
right.
It's not only men that are listening or reading us. So.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, all right, here goes. I'm gonna cut the intro out and just kind of start with where it gets.
Do we have to set the table about like what's going on here, or do you think just it'll explain itself? As
no, I think it'll. I think it'll. I think if I start right here at the third paragraph, it'll. We kind of just gave the intro a little bit, so okay. I think it'll be fine.
Perfect.
All right, here it goes. I was wrong. I've been wrong. For at least 10 years now, I've written about the slow erosion of enthusiasm for one's favorite activities as being not only normal, which it surely is, but healthy as well. And it's that second part that I'm apologizing for today. I started off with a little apology. Turns out, I think I've mistaken depression for disinterest. I've mistaken a deep well of sadness and anxiety for a general aging out of doing things that I once loved. I've written thousands of words about how it's fine to let go of something like surfing or skiing or backpacking, whatever, when it starts to lose its luster, its draw, its gravitational pull on your worldview. I thought that was due to becoming a parent and having shifting priorities and just physically getting older and being less capable of everyday athletic pursuits. But no, it wasn't that at all. It was my own personal demons, my own sadness. It's not worth really getting into here, but over the past couple of months, I realized that I've been depressed for a really long time. Situationally so, thank goodness. Not, it seems, a genetic or a chemical disposition. So my depression can and largely has been addressed with life changes. Good ones, too. And this is not about drinking, as you can tell because I'm having a beer right now. Hold on. Though I realize that's probably how it sounds. What I realized is the sadness feeds into itself. Surfing was the first victim. I'd be bored, a little depressed, I'd go for a surf, and it wouldn't help. Or if I would put off something important, it would actually make things worse. And so little by little, I began surfing less. And then I got worse at surfing. I got less fit, less practiced. So when I would go surf, it was harder. And that in itself was depressing. Little by little, I started to make allowances for that and made my surfing life much smaller, much poorer, and far less exciting. And, well, you can see the self-fulfilling prophecy. And something similar has happened with mountain bikes in the past couple of years, too. Same pattern, same results. And I want to apologize here if I fed into your own willingness to take the easy way out when it comes to pursuits you love or that you once loved. There's nothing wrong with reevaluating what matters to you and what you want to spend your time on, but there is something wrong with lying to yourself about not enjoying things and then basically cementing that lack of enjoyment by not doing them. And for that, I'm sorry. Thankfully, I've had an awakening recently, and I've realized how far up my own ass my head has been for quite some time. And thankfully, I'm young enough to reverse the trajectory. No permanent damage has been done. It feels like I have a new beginning here, and I'm determined to embrace it. I'm back on the surf wagon. I'm running every day. I'm making plans for backpacking. I'm getting out from under the cloud, and it's joyous. If any of this resonates with you, feel free to reach out, and people certainly have, and I'll share the details. I'll share the joy the best I can. It's not a religious thing either, thank God. Life really is too short to be mired in a funk that robs you of the very things that have made life so glorious in the past. So get the funk out. That's it, basically. And what I I don't know, Colin. What do you want to be? You want me to kind of get into?
Well, I think you need to be accountable to the fact that you wrote that, then sold all your surfboards and bikes. And
It's true. Yeah. No. I need fancy clothes. I need gadgets, Colin. I need gadgets.
Right. You need more technology.
What I was really getting at there is that, if you've listened to the show, if you've read anything I've written elsewhere, you know that I've kind of backed away from a lot of things I really cared about doing, and it really did feel logical. It felt I don't know, almost like inevitable, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And I've struggled with anxiety my entire life, but what I didn't realize is that a lot of depression had been folded into that. And it's just like, for me, a lot of it had to do with work stuff, like, what am I doing? Where's this going? Like, what have I been doing? Have I wasted time? Like, do I need to do more? All this sort of stuff. And I've had a shift in my work life.
Yeah.
And it just kind of cleaved everything. It's like there was a before and an after. And it's not like all of a sudden my life is perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It's more just that it took something waking me up from sort of the NUI that I'd been kind of mired in. And so, And so what I realized, though, is that I miss surfing. I really miss it a lot. Like, I miss these things that gave me purpose, that gave me, defined my worldview, that defined who I was as a person in a lot of ways. And I put them aside because it felt too hard to do. And I guess that's probably very classic when it comes to depression. And I've written a ton about mental health and the outdoors and how these things are supposed to bring you out of depression, or anxiety. But what's interesting is that, I think that's certainly true, can certainly be true. But what you don't hear about a lot is that once you suffer from these sorts of things, just getting on a bike can be impossible. Just getting on a surfboard can be impossible. And you can tell yourself all kinds of reasons why you don't need to do it that day. Yeah. Which is what I've been doing. And again, it kind of puts you behind the eight ball. You get less fit, you get less, all the things that you need, all those skills that you build up that make those things fun, you kind of lose them. And I honestly, I fooled myself. I really did. And so that doesn't mean I'm out like surfing every day, or like, doing like CrossFit and like carrying logs around my backyard. Nothing like that. It's more just an awareness, right? An awareness that I didn't really want to give those things up. I kind of did out of inertia, a bad inertia, like a downward pulling inertia. And, again, the impetus behind writing that was really just because I've talked so much about it. And I just hope that that other people haven't listened to me and gone and have been maybe in the same place and thought, yeah, okay, it's okay to give up this thing that I love doing or whatever. Cause that wasn't my intention. So.
And that all makes sense. I think it's probably easy to confuse those things too, right? Because I think at some point some of this is a middle-age problem too, to your point.
Sure.
You've got kids and you're older and right.
Exactly.
And so you do sort of compromise on the things that you love to do just by the nature of your station in life. But then, so it's really easy maybe then if there's other things at play, kind of like what you're describing, what you've been going through, then to just sort of pin it on that, right? And be like, well, I'm 46 now, like it's all right.
That's exactly right. But like going to Home Depot should never replace going on an excellent bike ride. Or paddling out even when the waves are shitty, right? Like those things that we tell ourselves are like worth doing or whatever. Do them when you have to.
Yeah. But
that's kind of the trap that I got caught in. And I will say I'm not alone. Obviously, because we got a ton of emails about this.
Yeah.
Really heartfelt emails, which I'm glad to see, but also bummed to see because obviously other people are feeling the same thing. But I mean, so many of my guy friends in their 40s that I've surfed with for decades are kind of in the same boat. A lot of us don't really surf that much anymore. For our own reasons, but I think a lot of it comes, I'm not saying they're all depressed, but I do think that there is some kind of, it kind of just depends on how you process that. And, for me, I have the time, like I do have the time. I've had like a very flexible schedule. So it's not like I didn't have a 9 to 5 where I like physically couldn't. It was more something imposed itself on me where I wasn't doing the things I love to do. And so that's what I'm kind of working out from underneath. But it seems to be fairly common. It seems to be fairly common from a lot of people my age, which is a huge bummer. But, that's, I don't know. But again, I've turned a page. I'm happy to help anybody out there with, more details about it if they're sort of struggling with this sort of thing too. But, it's like, it is truly amazing what going for a bike ride will do for you. Right. I mean, It really is, where you're just like, all right, this like whatever, when you remove that kind of thing from your life, especially if it's something that you're really good at, that you've done for a really long time, it makes it so much harder to face other obstacles in your life. Because like these are the things that give you courage and strength.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm a good surfer, right? So like how hard could it be to do my taxes or whatever, right? Like for real. You know, it's like these are, you know, like these things should matter to you. You know, you've built up a skill set, right? And like they might not translate into adulthood, but still it gives you, you know, tools to make everything else in your life work. And so when you put those tools away, they get a lot heavier. Right. And so that's kind of the lesson.
You mentioned you've talked a lot about, or written a lot about mental health. And I kind of had this feeling getting these responses and the responses to your column and kind of like, oh man, is there enough coverage in outdoor media about mental health? And if you go digging, there's actually quite a bit. I mean, I know like Brendan Leonard's written about it. Patty's written about it. Patty just did an event, I think in somewhere in Colorado with an, I forget his name, another athlete who also had, you know, struggled with mental health issues. And so, you know, do you think it's covered enough? Is this just one of those topics where like it's so individual that like, you know, you can really not talk about this enough?
I think it feels that way, but I don't think it is that way at all.
Yeah.
And I do think that one of the tricky things about it is that the outdoors is supposed to be a place that frees you from all those sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
But it isn't always. And, you know, we see this a lot with mountain towns and beach towns where like it'll attract people who feel like this is the thing. This is going to
fix
like,
it.
This is going to fix me. You know, I've got all these 8 things I'm running from, but if I just move to Carbondale and ski every day, I'll be fine. And you realize, no, you know, and like I've lived my entire life within 12 miles of the ocean, you know, so that I can surf every day. And at a certain point, you're like, oh, this isn't filling the hole. That doesn't mean you throw it out.
Right.
But like you start to kind of, you know, and I think a lot of the confusion can come from when you expect it to, you know, and like I wrote a piece. I don't think we shared it on Rock Fight. We might have actually, I can't remember, but about, you know, one of the best surfers of all time, probably like top 20 surfers probably in history. This guy, Sonny Garcia.
Oh yeah. No, we shared this in a newsletter.
Did we? Yeah. And it's like, you know, the dude like tried to kill himself. And the surf world tried to keep it under wraps for a long time, but he would write a lot about being depressed in his social media. And then one day was like hospitalized, was like in a coma, and like his family would never really talk about it. It kind of word trickled out. You're like, oh, you know, this is what happened. Right. And you're like, Christ, like here's a guy who like this guy's royalty, and like, you know, like it wasn't enough. And so again, there's no answer here. It's like the point is that like having outdoor pursuits can really help, but it's not the cure all. But also giving them up is not going to help.
Right.
Is probably going to make things worse. And so, you know, that's where we are.
So of all the emails we received, was there one that you wanted to share, or at least a comment from one of the readers that you'd like to share?
Well, I think, I mean, I've gotten, I don't know, 5 to 10 responses personally to this. And so I think that this particular paragraph is really well written, and I think it kind of boils it down. And like everybody kind of had the same thing to, you know, this kept coming up. You know, this is from, obviously I'll keep it anonymous, but they wrote, I realized that I'd slipped into a horrible self-fulfilling pattern of being focused on the wrong stuff, like my age, and being depressed by the bad stuff, like the daily news. Dwelling on this bad stuff distracted me from the good stuff, which left me marinating in the bad stuff, and so on. I'd forgotten that I simply have to go outside, away from cyberspace, and be open to what the real world is offering me. For me, hiking, running, and skiing are just different ways to do that. And so, like, you know, this person also talks about how they'd like gain weight and like just stop being fit and all these sorts of things. And, you know, I don't have an issue necessarily with like cyberspace or like the news or anything like that.
Just Cybertrucks.
Just fucking hell.
They got recalled.
Did they?
Like almost all of them. Yeah, there's a recall out for almost all of them.
That means I should be able to just go and like just do whatever I want to them. As far as I'm, you know, you're not getting it back.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail. You were on a good roll there. It was very serious.
Annoyed.
I just disrespected the reader who wrote it. Make a Cybertruck joke.
This person drives a Cybertruck.
Oh my God! Well, there's your problem, sir.
No, but like that kind of thing where we just kind of lose. I guess what I'm trying to get at is like, there's nothing wrong with moving on from things and adjusting your life to new sort of parameters and all that sort of stuff. But when we give it up, like when we give these things up kind of without really thinking about it and by fooling ourselves for why we're doing it, that's when it's a problem.
Right.
The nice thing though is unlike addiction, well, I guess you can come back from addiction too, but like you just pick it back up again. You know what I mean? Like it's in some ways, like I've had this experience with surfing where it's like, okay, I'm never going to surf like I did when I was 25. But the ways that I can surf now at 46 are way different. And they're on boards I wouldn't have thought about otherwise. And like, I've lost a lot of the like baggage about if someone sees me with a knee board, they're going to like make fun of me. I don't give a shit, you know, like So let's try new experiences on waves. Let's try new ways to be outside and these kinds of things. And so a lot, some of this there's like a shedding of your old skin that like is really important. But anyway, that email I thought really captured what I keep hearing from people, which is like, I'm in a similar space. I've gotten kind of bogged down in this. Like, I'm glad to hear that like there's a way out and that this isn't just what life is like now. Right. I never was like, oh, I'm just not going to be a surfer anymore. Like at no point did I think that. I think a lot of I remember I said something I may have written about this, but I said something in the podcast too, where like I was all proud of myself because like a couple months ago, my barber was like, "You still surfing?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah.
And you
wrote about it too. You wrote about it for the newsletter.
Yeah, and at the time I was like, "Yeah," right? Because it's like I'm being honest, but it's like that's fucking sucks, right? like there's nothing good, there's nothing to celebrate there.
Yeah.
Like this is a very special part of my life. Like it's a thing that very few people get ever to do ever. Historically, very few people have ever done, right? And it's like,
it's also okay if that's part of your journey, though, right? I mean, I took 14 years off from playing hockey. I never thought I'd play hockey again, and then I started playing again. You know what I mean?
But
like,
I mean, how much fun are you having?
Oh no, it's great. I love that I'm back playing hockey.
Sending me clips of you all the time with your like
it's pretty
geriatric skating and your 12-mile-an-hour slap shot.
That's right.
I love getting it. I love seeing it.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean though, but it's just, I mean, I wouldn't feel bad that you said that though. I mean, I guess is my point, right? It's like,
I don't feel bad. It's more just that, you're like, God, was that me? Was that somebody else entirely?
Yeah.
So, but like, let us, feel free to reach out.
I want to hear from people on this.
Yeah, if this is touching you, like, let's talk about it. I mean, the world's a fucked up place right now. Like, if you're not having mental health issues right now, like, something's probably wrong with you. Right? But, like, that's kind of how it is. And
how are you coping? How are you using the outdoors to cope? What topics, like I said, it's a pretty covered topic, generally speaking, by outdoor media, but what specific avenues have you not seen coverage on? Where do you not feel represented in outdoor media when it comes to mental health? We'd love to hear about that. myrockfight@gmail.com is the email address. Send your emails in. I guess this is sort of becoming Q&A corner before we get to Q&A corner. So it's like, I'm really curious. The listener response, it's funny because it was I loved your piece when you wrote it. I loved putting in the newsletter, especially as sort of, compared to then only a few weeks earlier, kind of the one the story you mentioned with your barber. And I thought, we got a lot of emails, but I guess I was surprised. It's the only way to describe it. Like, whoa, we got a lot of emails on this one. And so
I'm not that shocked. Like, generally speaking, mental health is something that, even though we're giving it so much runway now, like culturally, it's still really not, especially amongst men, it's still very, very, very rarely talked about.
Right.
And so I think opening that door at all is, people really want that.
Let's hear it. Send your emails.
You're not alone, right?
No.
Like anybody out there listening, you are 100% not alone, like at all, even a little bit. I fucking miss backpacking. Like I miss the shit out of it, right? And like I could have been backpacking this whole time, but no. Like I just kind of talked myself out of it, like to this, to that.
That's
whatever.
Probably the activity that suffered the most with you because since I've known you, you've told me how much you love backpacking. I don't think you've gone backpacking once since I've known you. But I know you surf and you mountain bike and all that. But some of that is the
surfing I can do every day. Backpacking is a much more of a production.
Right.
But no, I mean it's my kid's fault. But still, I'm not doing it.
Also, your mental health, probably your kid's fault. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you little bastards.
Now it's on the record.
I can see the back of one of them's head right now in my kitchen.
It's just giving you the finger probably right now. Just flipping you off.
Just being so cute. Just basically like a siren. Like, you don't need to go do the things you love to do. Just come on, sit with me on the couch.
Yeah. Sitting on the couch is a pretty good time.
Yeah, it's nice.
But hey, Justin, if you are looking to go backpacking this season, now's a great time.
I just said I was.
Well, now's a great time to lighten your load with ultralight gear. And Garage Grown Gear is the spot to find all the ultralight gear you need from small and independent brands, all in one place. If you're already a fan of GGG, which I know you are, Justin, check out all the new gear they've got, like Gossamer Gear's new Type 2 pack collection and super durable ultralight running shoes, trail running shoes by Norda. They carry Norda now. Do you know that?
I did know that. I'd like to check out the Gossamer Gear pack.
Check them out via the link in the show notes, or just head to garagegrowngear.com and see what they have going on over there if you're looking to go backpacking this season like Mr. Justin Housman is.
Garage Grown Gear is such a good name. I'm sure I've mentioned that before,
really
but it's a real solid name.
It really it's a lot of syllables, yet it still rolls off the tongue. Mm-hmm. Good job, Lloyd Vogel. All right, well, like I mentioned, we're back in Q&A Corner, presented by Oboes.
Qua Corner.
And Obos is happy to talk about the activity that everyone loves, but no one talks about, which is hiking. We're going to talk about that in a second. But 2 weeks ago, we asked for your opinions on socks.
And all of your opinions were wrong.
To help Justin realize he's all alone on Sock Island, on unbranded Sock Island. But holy shit, did you guys deliver? Thanks to everyone who wrote in. Even if we don't read your email today on the show, we genuinely appreciate it. It's been a lot of listener feedback over the last couple weeks between these topics. Before we get into the listener responses here, Justin, can you restate your sock position? You don't care about brands.
I don't care about them at all. I mean, just I don't ever want to think about a pair of fucking socks. Ever. If I'm thinking about socks, something has gone wrong. I want a pair of socks that is made out of wool, that doesn't have a labeling on my feet.
No right or left, which I agree with you on that one. No right or left, please.
No multiple toes.
But you sort of need this contention that it's overrated, that people don't really, you don't think people really care about socks.
No. I mean, I guess I can't speak for other people. You'll develop brand loyalty for literally no reason, I think, a lot of times. But like, I have worn every fucking brand of outdoor socks ever made. At no point, if you stop me on a hike, could I have told you what brand I was wearing at that moment? Like,
so
they just don't.
Especially for a gear guy. It's so interesting.
It's true. I mean, I am not shy about, gushing about brands I love. Right? Like, I don't give a shit.
To that.
And the
we
one
have hours of podcasts.
You already made fun of me for this. Wigwam is the only one I've remotely cared about sock-wise because their sock liners last, as far as I can tell, forever.
Yeah.
But like, I just don't. Jesus Christ, Fitz, Smartwool.
Now you're insulting sponsors. I won't have it.
I'm not insulting them. They're great. They're fine. They're great. They're great. They're fine. They're great. Whatever. They're like. You find a difference.
Well, let's get into it here because we had some listeners who wrote in, like I said. And first is, I've engaged with this gentleman on social media. Mating, I believe is his name. If I'm mispronouncing your name, buddy, I'm sorry. But Mating writes, gents, I have to vehemently disagree with the idea that all socks are created equal. So right there.
He talks about, I swear to God, if he talks about fucking cotton.
No. Darn Tough have 3 characteristics that make them stand out among the rest. I think we're going to find that Darn Tough is the big winner here in the Rock Fight audience. Number 1, head-to-head, they last longer. Number 2, their wearability on adventures on day 2, let alone crusty day 7, is way better than their counterparts. And number 3, if you were in disagreement with the first 2, then I always come back to lifetime guarantee. No other sock company that I know of will let you wear holes into your socks for one, let alone 7 years, and then return them for a new pair free. I have had socks last so long that I would feel I'm betraying them as a customer if I returned them. And he only runs an Injinji, though, he says, because it prevents blisters. But,
I mean,
the lifetime guarantee is pretty, it's hard to argue with that.
I thought they just re-darned them or whatever. Isn't darning is when you... No, I'm serious.
It's darning tough?
No, but did you not know what darning is?
No, I know what darning is.
Yeah, but isn't that what it is? Like, it's when you fix a hole in a sock,
yes,
right?
It
you
is,
darn it, right? So, like, I thought that's what they did. They actually send you new socks?
Yeah, I think so. They'll send you a new pair.
All right, that's cool. That's cool.
Darn Tough just moves up the rankings. You may have a new favorite sock brand at the end of this.
Yeah, but you know what that doesn't mean? It doesn't mean that, like, they feel better. It just means you get free ones at the end of the day, I guess.
Wow. All right, you're going to find a way to bring everybody down here.
Yeah.
I can see it. All right. Well, hey, all right, next email's from Deborah. Deborah writes, hey, friends. We're her friends. Look at that. You have to be nice to Deborah. She called you her friend.
First of all, I've always been nice to anyone named Deborah because Beck's album Midnight Vultures, the song Deborah, is absolutely goddamn perfect.
All right. Well, Deborah, if you know that song. I don't.
Colin, do you know that song?
I do not.
Oh, my God, it's good.
It's a perfect song.
Perfect song.
Okay. Deborah says, hey, friends, love listening to you. Favorite socks are features. I hike 4-ish miles daily. Okay. And yes, the left and right sock is the only way to go.
Jesus
Fun,
God.
sad fact. As a kid, I used to write R and L with a Sharpie on my socks.
Wow.
In right and left socks now. And she writes that she's a 25-year outdoor industry vet that is still in action.
Please, Deborah, I need more information. Why? Like, what?
It's the only way to go.
I need to know. I have to know why.
Don't argue with your friend, Deborah.
I'm not arguing with her. I need to know. Like, I wish you would have provided some context. Like, why as a kid were you like doing that? That's fascinating to me.
It's a good question. Right now we have a vote for. That's the first vote we've had for right and left socks.
I just cannot. I mean, I don't even wear matching socks half the time. Do you? Every time?
Not every time. I don't require. As long as it's like the same model, I don't care what the color they're.
To be honest, almost never. Like if I was going to like a funeral, I guess I would. Or like if I'm wearing shorts, I'm wearing matching socks. But like with pants, I don't care.
So Bryn as our next email, and Bryn writes in. He wrote a couple things actually about branded athletes. We already covered that. But now about socks, Justin calls you out specifically. You should check out Swiftwick. I've got a pair of merino running socks that have lasted 10 plus years.
Okay.
Plus, they have a line of products for amputees to wear under prosthetics, and who wouldn't support that? Swiftwick. Maybe that's your new brand. You don't know.
I've had Swiftwicks.
I think I've had Swift. I didn't know they made merino. I thought they were like synthetic only, but I guess not.
I've had some Swiftwick wool socks. I don't remember what happened to them. I don't have them anymore.
Okay, so when we did our accessories, top 5 accessories, right? We just sort of like Smart will just sort of cruise right into the finals. Well, listener Alan will disagree with maybe our assessment there.
Okay.
And Alan writes, I have tried a large variety of wool socks. Hands down, number 1 is Darn Tough. Number 2 is Fitz. Thank you. Sponsor Fitz is going to be happy with that. Doesn't even number them. He just writes, Smart wool is garbage.
I mean, I've had plenty of Smart wools where there was like a hole in like a week.
This comes from years of testing. My wife is incredibly hard on socks, and she has a hard time wearing out a pair of Darn Toughs. She will blow through Smart wool in a heartbeat. I am curious, Alan, like what your wife is doing to her socks. Like, what is
Some people are just like heel strikers or whatever. Might be different. I don't know. I get holes in my socks fast. I want to defend myself by saying that like I don't buy these, so I just get them. I've had all of them. Like I think it's I don't know.
That's
like
true.
Swiftwick guy, I forget his name. Have you had every other pair? Like, do you are you just like these worked? Like, I mean, I guess they worked for you for 10 years.
10
That's great.
years, though. That's pretty impressive. I definitely would not expect any sock to last 10 years.
Extremely hard to believe,
right?
But I'm not gonna, okay.
All right, last one we're going to read is from Dylan. And Dylan writes, first of all, couldn't agree more with the debate about left and right socks. Sorry, Deborah. Socks shouldn't be complicated, and I shouldn't need to think about putting socks on. I know you can get behind that, right?
Thank you, Dylan.
Second, my primary activity of hiking, specifically longer distance through hiking, has led me to have strong opinions on socks. See, which you don't have. You don't have strong opinion, even though you're a backpacker,
I feel like my strong opinion is they don't matter.
Fair. That's a fair point. Overall, they have to be comfortable, durable, and do a damn good job of preventing blisters. I don't think anyone would argue with that.
Yes, correct.
To make a long story short, Darn Tough socks are my socks of choice. Okay. I subject my socks to washing in a creek and scrubbing them together or on a rock day after day. Right?
Yeah.
Darn tough socks have held up to this unreasonable abuse pretty dang well. And if they develop a hole mid-hike, I've sent them back and gotten a new pair mailed.
Dude, I would never do that. Like,
General
I don't
delivery.
Look, I'm not trying.
Well, if you're through hiking, actually, that's a pretty sweet.
Sure, but I don't mean to. I'm not like, great, do it, take advantage. That's not their, like, are they giving away free? They're just giving away free socks. Like, if you wore a hole in your socks because you hike all the time, like, dude, just buy some new ones.
Levi's used to have like a lifetime policy, and you could literally take just like a shredded pair of jeans like to one of their stores, and they would have to give you another pair. And eventually they're like, yeah, this is dumb. We're losing a lot of money on this.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it like happened in a day, sure. Yeah. But I mean, like if you're like hiking the AT and like halfway through you get a hole in your sock, like, dude, they did pretty good.
I think our listeners out there are like, shut up.
Oh yeah, dude, they probably hate me.
Tell them.
I think it's great that people have such strong opinions about socks.
I know, right?
I mean, I get, look, I don't wear bad socks. I don't wear shitty socks. My point is they all kind of work. Like they all are kind of the same.
Well, I mean, now we're getting into the sameness. You could make that case about a lot of stuff in outdoor gear and apparel, though.
Totally,
too.
But I can't fathom, like, I bet you anything, honestly, if you boiled it down, write us back if you want to. These people just found colorways they like in these socks.
There might be some of that. I think when it comes to socks, the longevity will matter. I tend to think that the out of the package experience matters most, and I think that's one reason why Smart Wool continues to persist, because you put them on out and they feel great. Yeah. I will give our sponsor, fully acknowledging that they sponsor the podcast, Fitz out of the package, probably number one, honestly.
And Fitz has some pretty epic like colorways too. Fitz is a good, like, I'd buy Fitz. I have no issue with Fitz. Right.
I have Darn Toughs that I absolutely love though too. So I mean, I'm kind of with you. Like if it's wool, I'm going to be fine. I will not wear anything other than wool on my feet. But if it comes to like what I want to spend my money on, I'll probably have an opinion. I think that's it. Hold on, wait. Oh, I did want to say, and By the way, Dylan closes email saying, as an aside, recently started listening and much appreciate the show. Thanks. Well, we appreciate you, Dylan. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Dylan.
Yeah. Thanks for writing in. Thanks to everybody for writing in. Yeah, I guess we said our Q&A corner is going to be another mental health question. But listen, socks are interesting. I do think you are, you're a little bit in the minority, I would say. People tend to have opinion on socks.
That's fucking fantastic. That's great. You know what, though? I do have a favorite, and I've said it 3 times now. So I don't know what that means. I mean,
that is true.
I just don't. I
just don't want that to be your favorite. Clearly, is what this comes down to. I'm trying to change.
So.
I'm trying to brainwash you.
I didn't know Wigwam still exists.
I didn't
presume
either,
they do.
frankly. They used to be like the sock for a while there.
I don't love that name. Maybe they've rebranded.
Yeah,
but
oh my god!
Right?
Oh, the
yeah,
logo. The logo is like a Wigwam.
It's not great. Not wonderful.
Maybe that's why we don't know if they exist anymore. Wigwam and Thorlo were like the socks for the longest time.
Oh, Thorlo. I remember
those guys.
I guess my Wigwam socks are like the Swiftwick guy socks. I think I've had these sock liners for 10 years.
Only more racist?
And I honestly can't tell that they're not brand new. They're just what I don't know what they did. Maybe it was just a one-off, but these work great. And I get bummed when I'm going through all my socks.
Yeah.
Because I love black socks. And I'm just like, oh, they don't match. They don't match. And when I get my Wigwam ones, I get so bummed if I can't find the other one.
Based on that opinion, how do you want to talk about your feelings in the 1918 Chicago White Sox?
I do think it's really fun to talk about the history of stirrups in baseball.
Well, you said the Black Sox.
Do you know why baseball players ever wore stirrups? Do you know why?
You've told me this before, actually, and I can't remember, but I know we've had this conversation because somebody told me. Go ahead.
Would you like me to talk about it now?
Sure.
Well, because
this might not make it, but let's see.
So you used to when you would slide into base, sometimes you would your cleats would tag the second baseman or shortstop's ankles and they would bleed. And so the Red Sox or whatever, I think were the first ones to do it. They would wear these stripes of red down so you couldn't see the blood, I guess. And so they just started wearing stirrups.
Oh, it was just a cosmetic thing? Maybe you haven't told me this.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
Well, if you're putting on some good old wool socks, no matter what the brand, whether it's Smart Wool Darn Tough Fits or Racist Wigwam.
This feels like a sponsor read.
You like where this is going? Yeah. You know what you want to put over those socks?
A pair of oboes.
Yes, because this episode of The Rock Fight is presented by Oboes, who is helping us ask the question, how much do I love hiking? Let me count the ways.
Yeah, all of them, all the ways.
Well, number 1 this week is legitimately excusable laziness later. I hiked 10 miles today. I deserve this entire pizza.
Yeah, dude, nothing better. Nothing better.
Nothing right. Number 2, trail friendships, bonds over blisters and shared granola bars or forever. But in this case, you wouldn't have any blisters because you're wearing awesome socks and you have oboes on.
Yeah,
Who
you're
wrote
fine.
this list? I'm blaming producer Dave. Number 3, rocks are underrated. Now, I know you're going to get on board with this one. Big ones, small ones, one's to sit on, one's to climb. Respect the rocks.
Dude, rocks are badass.
Yeah. What about if you piled them up in a small little pile?
Is it in terms of art or directional? Or both?
How do you tell?
Kick them.
Also, hiking means the Oboes Catabatic Collection, which has added the all-new Catabatic LT, which takes the whole collection to a new level with a lighter package, improved performance, and additional environmentally friendly materials. Fast packing, day hiking, whatever your fancy, the Catabatic LT is your hiking shoe of choice. And also, lastly, for every hike completed over a mile long during the month of April, Oboes will plant a tree as part of its Trails for Trees challenge. Justin, pay attention to this. You're a redwoods guy.
Do we get to pick what kind of tree? That's what I was going to ask.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you should reach out to Oboes. Maybe there's a partnership in the works here.
Ooh.
For each hike completed, participants will also receive chances to win weekly prizes from Oboes and challenge partners. Registration is free and open now at trailsfortrees.com. The Trails for Trees challenge runs from April 1st through April 30th. So it starts next week. You're going to get ahead of this, folks. It's free to register at any time. Participants can complete as many hikes as they wish on any given day, as long as it exceeds 1 mile. And you'll also receive a virtual badge in the Trails for Trees Challenge trophy case for each trail they complete, signifying how many trees they helped plant. Oboes love hiking.
That's awesome.
I'm going to do that. I might do that. Yeah, sign up for that. That's pretty sweet. All right, man, time for the parting shot.
It's time for the parting shot.
Who's up first?
I don't have much of one, so do you have a parting shot?
I do, and I don't know if I've already said it before or not. So
you missed last week. So what's your parting shot this week?
I realize that we live in California, so we're extremely fortunate.
And people are gonna be mad at us for.
What was the temperature? Do you think down your pad today?
Oh, it was like 74.
Yeah, same here. I think it was 78 today. I think tomorrow's supposed to be a little bit warmer.
It was so nice outside today.
Yeah. And you know what? It's only really going to get nicer. Like we're going to have, it's supposed to rain next week and it'll probably snow in the mountains and blah, blah, blah. But like generally speaking, the curve was obviously going up.
We're headed in the right direction.
Hey, you know what I don't want to think about anymore? The second that it's hot and I take my shoes off?
Shoes?
Hockey.
Oh.
I don't want to think about hockey anymore.
Really?
Because it's not winter anymore.
But the Stanley Cup playoffs are coming.
That's what I'm talking about. I was just thinking, I was telling a story earlier today to a friend of mine about something that happened to me in June once. And I was like, oh yeah, the Kings were in the playoffs that year. June.
Yeah.
No.
You think you should be
I'm
buttoned
sorry,
up?
but no. Is the Super Bowl in August? Never. Like it's insane to me that hockey starts in the fall and is still occurring in the freaking spring, which in a lot of June, fucking summertime. Like, what are we doing, hockey?
That's true.
And the last thing I want to think is if baseball is on, hockey should not be on ever, unless it's in another hemisphere. This is insane to me. Hockey should be ending now. Do what it takes. Figure it out, NHL. This should be the Stanley Cup playoffs right now. It should be cold when the Stanley Cup playoffs are happening. You should not be able to go run outside with no shirt on to celebrate that your team won the Stanley Cup. It's absurd.
I don't mind that so much. I would say where I think you may have a point, though, is I heard an argument recently that, the NBA should actually start their season later. So that way they don't have to compete with football as much, right? And I think if the NHL could figure out a way to, even if you gave out the cup in May, your ratings would automatically go up. Because right now the NBA finals and the NHL finals typically go against each other in June.
Exactly.
And it would be really good for your sport to not compete against the NBA, which is like, it's not the NFL, but it's not that far off. It's definitely the second most popular sport going in North America anyway right now, I would assume. I know. Well, the NHL's kind of having a moment with the 4-Nation Challenge, though. I got to give them credit for that. So,
but I feel this way about baseball, too. Like, your sport should not get touched 3 different seasons. That's insane.
I think the World Series used to be like the first week of October.
And that's how it should be.
Right. It's sometimes bleeding into November.
It's crazy to me that sports that are so closely identified with a particular season have the most important parts of that season not in the season they're identified with.
Football's the only one that's not messed up.
Exactly. Like it should be summertime during the World Series.
Yep.
September even, really.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, baseball, for as much as they just seem like they're doing it the worst, though, compared to the other 3.
I mean, I love baseball more than anything.
Me too. I love baseball.
Just like, why am I don't want to watch, like, Dodgers won the World Series this year. Fantastic. I don't want to be watching that shit in November. I don't want to be putting my Halloween costume on going, there's a baseball game on.
But it's also, you have a 6-month regular season that has no bearing on what's going to happen in the playoffs. I mean,
I'm actually a big supporter of shortening the season by like 20 games.
Minimum.
Yeah.
So, all right. I appreciate that. I think I'm okay with it, but I get what you're saying. Mine, I don't really have an outdoorsy one either. Mine is everyone, it's not an unpopular thing to say. Everyone should be watching Adolescence on Netflix. It's an incredible show. My parting shot is to the audience, go watch Adolescence.
And it's Adolescence with a CE.
Yes.
Like the condition of being an adolescent. Not
correct.
Adolescence as a plural, as a group.
Yep. It's a story of a family, some part of the UK. I'm not sure where it takes place.
It's all the same. UK is the size of this.
Really thick, specific accent. It could be Wales. It could be, I don't know. But it's
Manchester.
Maybe. It's not London. I can tell you that. And it's, a tragedy befalls a member of this family. And it's kind of then just an hour, 4 hours of 4 individual episodes, an hour each, that are dealing with the fallout of that tragedy. And it's shot in a way that it looks like each episode is shot in one take. So it's almost like watching 4 one-hour plays in a lot of ways because of the way the story is told. Incredibly impactful. If you have kids, be prepared, but it's still worth your time. If you have teenagers, definitely going to make you think about a few things that maybe you're not currently thinking of. And I highly recommend Adolescence. Check it out.
I am definitely going to do a parting shot about going to the theater.
Oh, did you go to the theater recently?
No, but fucking love plays. Do you ever go to plays?
Yeah, I mean, I've been.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't for years.
We mostly like Broadway musical type things, but yeah.
But even just like unless it's shitty, just like a local play, so interesting, so good.
All right, man, that's the show for today. Like I said, we want your emails. Write to us about your mental health. That's the question we're looking to answer. Send it to myrockfight@gmail.com. The Rock Fight's a production of Rock Fight LLC. I left Shantae's name in there. I hope that doesn't offend you. For Justin Housman, I'm Colin True. Thanks for listening. And here to take us out, it's Krista Makes with the Rock Fight song. We'll see you next time, Rock Fighters.
Rock Fight.